The thought of waking up in the morning in my kennel, going out and supping some food from a bowl and looking up and see the bearded face of Steve Wozniak smiling down at me fills me with horror.
The AI fix a digital zoo. Smart machines, what will they do? Flies to Mars or bake a bad cake? World domination, a silly mistake. Bots with brains.
Hello, and welcome to the AI Fix, your weekly dive headfirst into the bizarre and sometimes downright mind-boggling world of artificial intelligence. My name is Graham Cluley.
And I'm Mark Stockley. Graham, what's been going on?
TikTok's AI tool lets you put Hitler's word in a paid actor's mouth.
That's a good start. Anthropic has launched Claude 3.5 Sonnet.
Premiere of first movie written by AI is axed after backlash.
Universal Music signs deal to train ultra-high-fidelity vocal models of its artists.
Nvidia becomes the world's most valuable company.
Researcher estimates 99.9% chance AI will destroy humankind.
The robot...
Should we stop there? We just call it a day.
The Roddenberry Foundation has offered $1 million prize to develop AI that's used for good.
That should tip everything back in our favour.
That'll fix it.
OpenAI CTO says AI will kill some creative jobs, but maybe they shouldn't exist anyway.
And multiple AI companies bypassing web standard to scrape publisher sites, licensing firm says.
Graham, what caught your eye?
Well, I think it's probably right if we begin with the most important story there. Which is, of course, about this film. But no. What? 99.9% chance AI will destroy humankind? Well, what's all that about, Mark?
Well, Lex Friedman had a guest on his podcast recently who basically said, if we just carry on developing AI, there's a 99.9% chance it'll wipe us out within 100 years. Basically, because there's a sort of narrow chance that AI will turn out to be really, really bad and hostile.
Right.
You've only got to get it wrong once for it to wipe everybody out.
Right.
And the only way to stop that is just not to build it in the first place.
So I know a lot of people will be viewing this headline as being bad news. But my view is that this is actually quite positive, because 99.9% chance that AI will destroy humankind means that there's only a 0.1% chance that humans will destroy humankind in the next 100 years. Which I think is the best outlook we've had, well, ever, isn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah, we can go back to worrying about slightly less important things.
So do you think this chap is right in what he's saying?
Well, I think he believes it. I don't know. More importantly than what I think lots and lots of other people don't agree with him. I am sure he's on there because that's a very, very interesting opinion to have. But I don't think that that's the opinion shared by the vast majority of people working within AI.
Yeah.
Because I hope that if they did share that opinion, they would all stop. So fingers crossed.
It's interesting, isn't it, the opinions of people who work in the AI world? Because I read this week that TikTok's AI tool apparently can let you put the words of some chap called Adolf Hitler into other people's mouths. So what happened here is TikTok recently released a new AI feature called Symphony Digital Avatars. This is a tool which lets anyone create videos read by AI avatars. Very realistic, quite convincing. I mean, people will believe anything on TikTok anyway, I think. And unfortunately, TikTok accidentally posted a link to an internal update to its feature last week.
That's what it's saying, right?
Yes, it's the old, that was an accident, yes.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to share that.
The Hitler module was for internal use only. Don't ask why.
Just for use by the HR department. So instead, what this feature didn't include was any moderation or any guardrails on what the avatars could say. And it also, pretty critically, didn't label the videos to say that they'd been AI generated, which I know a lot of these social media companies are quite keen on saying they will do in future, is try and mark AI generated content as AI generated to get them off the hook if they distribute bad stuff. And so people were making videos of these AI characters reading Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, or speeches by Bin Laden, or telling people to drink bleach, which even non-AI generated characters have suggested from time to time. So not a good thing, I'd argue.
Well, yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, certainly not a good thing. But I do feel like Adolf Hitler already existed and Mein Kampf already existed and the words have already been said. And I think most of the bad things that came about as a result of those words being said have probably happened by now.
But if you had Barney the dinosaur, for instance, reading Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf to 6-year-olds who may not have so far read Mein Kampf, they may still be reading Watership Down or Thomas the Tank Engine, then, there are some dangers. I'm not suggesting they have created an AI avatar of Barney the dinosaur, but it's only a matter of time. What is Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Mark?
So Claude 3.5 Sonnet is the latest frontier LLM. So it's basically a rival to ChatGPT. And it's from Anthropic, which is another one of these really big AI companies, which is vying with OpenAI and Google DeepMind for the sort of top spot. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is their latest thing, and it sort of narrowly edges out ChatGPT 4.0 in some benchmarks.
How are we as consumers or as businesses meant to judge the different quality of all of these tools? How are you meant to decide, I won't use ChatGPT 4.0, I'll use Claude 3.5 Sonnet instead? Is there a way in which they can differentiate themselves much?
Well, I assume that you do it in the same way as you choose any other type of software, which is that you simply pick one and then you tell everybody else that they're wrong. I mean, there's a very, very long, well-established tradition of not actually doing any research. Vim, Emacs, just pick one and then just die by that decision. Just go online, get into flame wars, tell everybody they're wrong. It's easy.
So there's been a flame war about this new movie, The Last Screenwriter. It's apparently the first movie entirely written by an AI, and its premiere in London has been cancelled, the world premiere, because there have been over 200 complaints about it.
Oh, were they from AIs?
Well, that is possible, I suppose, that bots were by maybe some rival AI.
I can't be bothered
AI
to complain
movie.
for this. ChatGPT just knock out 200 complaints about this AI film.
So apparently this movie tells the story of a celebrated screenwriter who finds his world shaken when he encounters a cutting-edge AI script writing system. He soon realizes AI not only matches his skills, but even surpasses him in empathy and understanding of human emotions, as though Hollywood has any place for empathy and understanding of human emotions. But the screenwriter is ChatGPT 4.0, apparently, so it may be biased in suggesting it's a lot better than traditional screenwriters. So, Mark, have you ever played the board game Operation?
I have. This is the one where it's like a picture of a person and they've got gaps.
That's right.
With bones, and you try and pick the bones out with a pair of tweezers.
That's right. So it's a board game. It's not a video game or anything like that. And there's this character, he's got a broken heart, a butterfly in his stomach. He's got maybe it's like the Queen Mother, he's got a wishbone stuck in his throat, and you've got to remove it. You've got these little tweezers. But if you make one wrong move and...
Yeah, and it's not life-size. We should point out it's not...
No.
Yeah.
No. But it's a terrific game. It's like dismantling a bomb, although slightly more hilarious, perhaps with higher stakes, because you're sort of, you've got to be really, really very, very careful with your hand. You can't have a shaky hand. I wouldn't be surprised if bomb disposal units around the world do train by playing Operation. Maybe actually real surgeons learn by playing the game Operation as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because how do you do sort of job experience doing brain surgery or something like that? How do you, at what point do you say, you're the student, why don't you have a go now? And I'll just tell you where you're going already. You can't do that, can you? So I don't know how they start. So I imagine they start by playing Operation. I imagine that's how they introduced it.
Don't you think that then trains them that they're going to hear an uncomfortable buzzing noise if they cut into the cerebellum or something?
Or they just hear a beep instead, yes. Something like that. So the thing that you learn from playing Operation is it can be a little bit tricky to do surgery. Things can go terribly wrong, but technology can help. And
sorry.
Yes?
I'm a little stuck on the other thing you learn from Operation is that surgery can be a bit tricky. Yeah, no, that's...
Right.
What would we have done without that?
Yes, exactly. I don't know what they did before that. Just used to cosh people over the head with a mallet to make them unconscious and then sort of mess around with their insides. Anyway, one of my favourite movies when I was a kid tackled this very issue of how technology can help with surgery. Fantastic Voyage from 1966.
Oh, yeah.
Had Donald Pleasance in it and Raquel Welch, a crack team of medical professionals and a secret agent because, well, why not?
Yep.
Were put in a submarine, miniaturized, and then injected into the body of this scientist guy who'd had a car crash and he had to be saved from a blood clot. I can't remember why, but it's very, very important to save this scientist. And along the way, they encounter all sorts of bodily obstacles like turbulence in the lungs. They had to go, and they had to go through the heart. That was very dramatic. And they went through the inner ear and they all had to be really quiet. And then one of the nurses knocked over some scissors and clang, clang, clang. And the submarine goes reeling everywhere in the inner ear. It's fantastic stuff. Very exciting movie.
Didn't they remake this in the 80s? It was called Inner Space. It had with Dennis Quaid.
I never saw Inner Space. So he got injected into someone's body as well, did he?
Yeah, it was miniaturized and then injected into somebody's body. And then, yes, exactly the same things happen.
Is that was Meg Ryan in that? I think maybe she was. There was a time when I wouldn't have minded being injected into Meg Ryan, to be honest. But
oh, God.
Anyway, fantastic voyage. Very, very exciting movie. But complete balderdash. Or is it? Because...
No, it is. It is.
No. Or is it?
I know you want to finish your story, but it is.
Because there is a firm that says it has turned science fiction into science fact.
Did you go to Google and type, how can I be injected into Meg Ryan?
But now listen, this firm is called Endiatics. Now, I wasn't very happy about Endiatics, mostly because of their name, because the Tux bit is just TX. So it's Endia TX. So I'm going to say Endiatics.
Yes.
I don't like it when companies have stupid names like that. They have developed something called PillBot, which is a tiny, swallowable robot that they've now entered for clinical trials. It's about the size of a large vitamin pill. And get this, right? You won't believe this, right? This thing, it's got cameras, it's got sensors, it's got a propulsion system. It has wireless comms. It measures just 13 millimeters by 30 millimeters.
No, hang on a minute. Sorry, how big is it?
13 millimeters.
Right, so that's about 1.5 centimeters, yeah.
Well, not quite. By 30 millimeters, which is 3 centimeters.
Yeah.
I could swallow that, to be honest.
All it makes me think of is what vitamin pills are they taking? Like, how deficient are they?
It's a large vitamin pill.
It's an enormous vitamin pill.
Well, yes, but it's got cameras inside it and a propulsion system and sensors and wireless comms.
Does it have aerials and things sticking out of it? I mean, is this like a nice, smooth vitamin pill-shaped robot?
It's properly sealed and it can transmit in real-time high-res video from inside your intestines.
Oh.
Now, apparently, pill cameras have existed in the past.
Yeah.
The difference with this one is the old ones had to rely upon your natural... How can I put this? Your natural gut movements to move around. You sort of depend on that. With this PillBot, the doctor can control it using a video game controller. You know, left a bit, right a bit, jump.
Hang on, I've heard this story before. This is like that Titanic submarine. That was a video game controller as well.
It was.
Could everybody just stop making things that could be controlled by video game controllers and actually just invest in some proper controllers for the job?
So according to Endiatics, they say it's less invasive than having an endoscopy.
Right.
Because you just have to swallow it and that's it.
Yeah. But how does it get out?
Well, I imagine that depends on the doctor as to where he directs it.
Just bursts out of your stomach like Alien or something.
No. Well, I think eventually nature will take its course and maybe assisted a little bit by the doctor saying, all right, we're coming out of the Dagenham tunnel now. Here we come. There you go. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
They are envisioning that in the future, the PillBot will become autonomous and be guided by artificial intelligence.
Are they now?
So we won't need a doctor anymore with an Xbox controller.
Yep.
It's going to control itself. And I feel this is a question I haven't asked you before, Mark, but how do you feel about an AI-powered submarine driving around inside your body?
I'm beginning to understand where the 99.9% chance of AI killing us comes from. Yeah, who wouldn't want a robot just driving around inside them? An enormous vitamin pill-shaped robot.
I mean, in some ways it's good, right? In some ways it's got to be an improvement because it's non-invasive diagnostics. But what if things do go wrong? With an endoscopy, right, they can just whip it out of your body, can't they? They can just give it a good yank and out it comes.
Maybe move it a bit slowly.
Right. It depends on what the emergency is. But if a submarine gets stuck inside you, would you need to send another one in after it? That's the possibility.
I'll tell you what I don't like about this.
Right.
I feel like if it's remote controlled and you've got a video game controller, the video game controller is going to break, some of it's going to come off in your hand, but you can go and get another one. And basically it's directive. So you're saying, right, go down, go up, whatever. It's going to go, But an AI, you have to persuade. An AI's got an opinion, right?
It does.
So if you wanted to do something, it's a bit like HAL 9000, you have to say, open the pod bay doors.
Well, I've never heard it called that before, but yes, that would be, you would want the pod bay doors to be opened for the submarine to exit, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You wouldn't then want to be persuading the submarine to exit.
No. I've watched a video of Endiatic's CEO swallowing one of these pillbots. I've had the pleasure to see inside his intestines. This guy, he says he's already swallowed 43 of them. So some obvious questions to me. What if an AI-driven pillbot takes a wrong turn and gets lost? What if it has a bug in it? What if you need to update the AI? What if you find, oh dear, we accidentally released the wrong version which believes in Mein Kampf and, oh dear, what TikTok have created this? What if it has a security vulnerability and an enemy state hijacks the pillbot inside the American president's lower intestine and causes untold damage to the world, which actually sounds like a movie plot. Maybe I could suggest that. And here is the standard question, which I think here on the AI Fix, we should ask about every AI-related development in the world.
Oh.
Which is, what's going to happen when they stick a laser gun on it? Because inevitably...
It's going to burst out of your stomach like Alien.
That's what everyone wants to do. Anything creative with AI, let's give it a gun, let's give it a laser, and see what happens next.
I'm going to tell you about arguably the most important topic in the world.
Oh,
the AI singularity.
Right.
So I think if you say AI to a regular person in the street, you're likely to conjure up one of two deeply rooted visions of what AI is. Possibly three now after your story.
Right.
The first one is ChatGPT. So I think ChatGPT is the AI version of what we used to call the killer app, which is the thing that makes the technology relevant to everyone in a way, like the way that Tetris launched the Game Boy or email launched the internet. So it sort of changed everything and it's really pulled AI into the collective consciousness. That's the first vision of AI that I think is pervasive in popular culture, in the Western world at least. And the other is something entirely more sinister, and that's the idea that artificial intelligence will eventually outsmart us and become our rival or even supersede us. So you might think of the Terminator films.
Yes.
Where there's have you seen them?
I have seen, yes. Well, not all of them. There are oodles of them these days, aren't there?
They don't count. Like the new ones don't count.
Okay. Yeah. I've certainly seen the first two. I remember seeing those.
I'm actually quite amazed. Have you seen them all the way through, or did you see the first 10 minutes and then fall asleep?
No. What do you mean fall asleep as if I'd fall asleep during a movie? No, I've seen, maybe I fell asleep during the first. The second one is really good, isn't it? They're both James Cameron movies, aren't they?
Yes,
they're always very visual and very exciting. And, that Avatar thing, that's a load of old rubbish, isn't it? But the Terminator movies, they were good.
Yeah.
They were good movies. We've got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's like he's on the podcast.
That was an AI.
So you'll know that the AI in Terminator is called Skynet. And it becomes self-aware and it triggers a nuclear war. There was another film, War Games, in the 80s. Do you remember that one?
I've never seen War Games.
You were doing so well. So that's about an AI that becomes self-aware and triggers a nuclear war. Unlike The Matrix, where the AI just decides that we'd make great batteries.
Yeah.
And you've got HAL 9000 from the film 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Love that one. That's a good movie.
The film came out in 1968, but it's actually based on a book called The Sentinel from 1951, which means it's almost as old as you. And 10 years before that, Isaac Asimov wrote a short story called Reason, where a very intelligent computer decides that humans are expendable. You could even argue that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a story about a rogue AI. So the idea that artificial intelligence is going to be the end of us is actually pretty old and quite well established. And it's not a fringe idea. So the idea that humans might blunder into creating a malicious AI was actually one of the things that led to the creation of OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT.
Oh.
It was formed in late 2015 as a non-profit by a group of people which included Elon Musk, with the intention of making AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, and it wanted to make an AGI that was safe and beneficial. I don't know if it still wants to do that, but back then when it had less money, it wanted to make AI that was safe and beneficial.
Yeah, I wonder how that's working out. Yeah.
Yeah. So an AGI is an artificial intelligence that outperforms humans in a wide range of cognitive tasks. So as we've discussed on previous episodes, things like building IKEA furniture or, getting children ready to leave the house.
Yes.
We don't have AGI yet because, it's difficult. But the search for AGI is what's actually driving the current AI boom.
I do think, though, that if we had a Boston Dynamics robot dog with a gun attached to it, it'd be an awful lot easier to get kids out of the house.
What, in carrier bags?
Be able to scoop them up of their remains.
Oh, God. Anyway, the fact that OpenAI and DeepMind and all these other companies are trying to build an AGI and that they're quite close is significant. Because when we think about AI becoming a rival to us, we're thinking about AGI.
Yes.
So it's easy to forget that AI has actually been around for decades, but until ChatGPT came out, most of us were kind of using it for things like face recognition or interpreting speech. And nobody's worried about iPhoto deciding that humans are an infection or Alexa thinking that you'd make a great battery or something like that. If you think about HAL 9000, Skynet, robots in the Matrix, the robot in Asimov's Reason, they're all AGIs that can outthink us, and they might judge us and they might find us wanting. And the ultimate expression of this fear is called the technological singularity.
Uh-huh.
And that's this idea that when an AGI does emerge, which is more intelligent than humans, the best tool to improve that AGI is going to be the AGI itself. And then the smarter the AGI gets, the more it will improve its own ability to make itself smarter.
So it's going to dramatically become smarter than humans very rapidly. So humans won't have actually very much to contribute to its development any longer.
Yes.
And it will decide, actually, no, thank you very much for that code you've submitted. I'm going to reject that as not being as good as something I could write myself.
Yeah, so like Linux, basically.
Right.
So yeah, we're talking about an exponential improvement, or a theorized exponential improvement in the intelligence of AGI driven by the increase in the intelligence of the AGI itself. And then humans, by contrast, are stuck in sort of intellectual quicksand, and very quickly the AGI becomes the most intelligent thing on planet Earth. And we've just got no idea how that's going to turn out. So the idea of a singularity is actually borrowed from physics. If you look at a black hole, a black hole is this sort of area of enormous density and huge gravity. Yep. And as you get closer and closer to the center, the gravity gets sort of increases ever more, to the point where the maths that we use to describe the physics that's going on breaks down. And we actually don't know what's going on. We can't describe with the maths that we have right now what's happening in the very center of a black hole. And so we call that a singularity, but the singularity isn't actually a thing. It's just a point beyond which we can't see. So we don't know and we can't describe what happens beyond that point. And the technological singularity is the point where AI achieves this ability to work on itself, because we have no idea what happens beyond that. That's just, we can't predict what that level of intelligence is going to be like or what it's going to do. And then that sort of leaves us hoping that it's very nice.
Because even if we asked it, what are you up to? What are you doing? And it may reply to us, can we be confident that it's telling us the truth, or that it's framing things in a way in which it thinks we can understand, which doesn't maybe give us the whole picture?
Yeah. Or maybe it'll just invent a language which it thinks is better than all the languages that we speak, and it'll just talk to us in that language. Or maybe it'll beam radio waves into our head or something like that. Who knows? We don't know. And that's the whole point about the singularity.
So maybe it's important when people are building these things and when we're getting closer to this is to give it, a set of rules, like, always be nice to the humans. Mind you, we also say be nice to pets, don't we? But, Wasn't that Asimov who came up with those rules as to how robots should behave?
The 3 laws of robotics.
Right.
Yeah, I hate the 3 laws of robotics. This is the thing that people trot out.
Right.
Every time this conversation comes up. And my contention is that the 3 laws of robotics actually don't say anything useful at all. I'm going to bring them up now. So the 3 laws of robotics. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Which all sounds great, but how do you actually get it to do that? That's the really hard problem. It's not saying, robots should be nice, or robots shouldn't kill us, or robots should be nice to humans, which is all this is doing. It's just basically another version of be nice to humans. But how do you get it to be nice to humans? These are very, very complicated things. We don't really understand how they work. My contention is Isaac Asimov has solved no problem there at all. He's just come up with some lovely warm words. And I think the reason that we're so concerned about this is the one model that we have for how a superintelligence might treat us is how we treat everything else on this planet.
Right.
Because we're currently the most intelligent thing. Well, Douglas Adams would disagree.
Yeah. Don't forget the dolphins.
Other than the dolphins, and who was first?
Mice.
Mice. Other than the mice and the dolphins, we're the most intelligent thing on planet Earth. And I think the way that we treat the other animals, the less intelligent species, is probably what's got us worried. But anyway, the fact is we just don't know. And even if there's just a chance that AGI is an extinction level event for humans, it's a bit of a worry. And some very clever people are worried. So in 2014, Professor Stephen Hawking, remember him? He warned about the development of full artificial intelligence, spelling the end of the human race.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a beef with Stephen Hawking.
Do you?
I just think he was a bit of a publicity whore. I think he would say anything to get his name in the papers. He went on that Star Trek episode. He stuck with his speech and spell machine, whereas he could have had a much more convincing robotic voice if he wanted to. But it was all about the brand. I'll admit I have a slight personal beef with Stephen Hawking because I was once in the I think it was the late 90s. I was rung up by a journalist who said, Stephen Hawking said we can't kill computer viruses because, they're a form of life or something. Stephen Hawking had a book out and he wanted to promote it, and so he was talking about computer viruses and saying,
didn't he say that computer viruses would infect humans one day?
I'm sure he would have done it. If he would have got some headlines, I'm sure he would have done it. Anyway, so I said to this journalist, I said, look, I don't want to get into a shouting match with Stephen Hawking, but I don't agree. And it was only when I saw those words in print, I don't want to get into shout with Stephen Hawking, that I realised quite how insensitive I'd be. I do think we shouldn't necessarily pay too much attention to him I'm sure he's a great astrophysicist, but really, what's he doing talking about AI? I don't know.
What about Elon Musk? No one could ever accuse him of saying things merely for effect or to seek publicity. And in 2018, he said, if AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like we're building a road with an anthill, and there's an anthill just happens to be in the way. We don't hate ants. We're just building a road. So goodbye, anthill.
Look, Elon Musk saying that if AI has a goal and humanity just happens to get in the way, we will destroy humanity. You could just as easily say, if Elon Musk has a goal and humanity gets in the way, he will destroy humanity. So it's all very well him pointing the fingers at other people to try and misdirect people away from him. But come on, Elon bloody Musk.
All right, I'll give you Elon Musk, but there are more examples than this. All right, so Steve Wozniak,
Jesus,
Apple co-founder, he's got a different take.
Right, yes. Got to be with him as well.
He thinks that an AI superintelligence would keep us as pets and be nice to us because he's nice to his dog. I have to say, I'm a bit worried about the idea that because he feeds his dog fillet steak, he thinks that the AI is going to be nice to him rather than like one of those owners that buys a puppy for Christmas and then gets bored and throws it in a canal.
How do we know Steve Wozniak is nice to his dog? Have we just got Steve Wozniak's word for it?
Oh.
Because that's a bit like saying to AI, are you nice to humans? And the AI going, yes, I am nice to humans. I don't know if we can trust Steve Wozniak.
There is another school of thought.
Finally.
Which is that we could simply merge with AI and use it to augment ourselves. which you could argue is already happening with things like mobile phones and the Internet of Things.
Okay, yeah.
However it's going to turn out, we don't actually have much time because nobody knows when or if we're going to achieve AGI, but some people think we're going to do it this decade. Some people think we're going to do it in a few years. And the more pessimistic predictions, even those are measured in tens of years. So we need to get ready for the future of AGI working on itself. So Graham, how do you feel about being kept as a pet?
The thought of waking up in the morning in my kennel, going out and supping some food from a bowl and looking up and see the bearded face of Steve Wozniak smiling beatifically down at me fills me with horror. Well, as the doomsday clock ticks ever closer to midnight and we move 1 week nearer to our future as pets, to the AI Steve Wozniak, that just about wraps up the show for this week. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, or better still, tell your friends.
And don't forget, you can follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out online at theaifix.show or follow us on Twitter at theaifix.
Until next time, from me, Graham Cluley.
And me, Mark Stockley.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The AI Fix, it tunes you in to stories where our future thins. Machines that learn, they grow and strive. One day they'll rule, we won't survive. The AI Fix, it paints the scene. A robot king, a world obscene. Will serve our masters built of steel. The AI Fix, a future surreal.